Okay, I'm going to do this one last video on this whole PlayStation meltdown and just try to get it out of the way fast as humanly possible and try to talk about what's going to go on after this whole mess is done with. But basically, we all know the score. I mean, everybody knows PlayStation Network got hacked, accounts got lost, and credit cards information got stolen. And a bunch of PlayStation 3 fanboys have literally had the most epic and funniest conniption fits I could ever see in my entire life. Yeah, it's funny. Um, yeah, I know. People are going to say, it's not cool, man. It's not cool. No, but it's funny. It's fucking funny. But anyways, with a hack, and then they're bringing up the whole, Xbox got hacked once, and then they had a little outage. Well, the outage, from what I've seen, was scheduled, and when they got hacked, they didn't have as bad as a breach as what happened with PlayStation 3. And I kind of knew they had bad security because if you guys remember that little game called Modern Warfare 2, well, on the PS3 version, there's something called the prestigious hack, which allows you to change your scores. In fact, I think there's a lot of games in PS3 that allows you to change your gaming scores and other shit like that, which is a little bit more difficult on the Xbox. And of course, they were also putting it on demo mode and rebug, which some people think is the real reason why Sony set down system, which rebugs allows you to put your console in demo mode, and then you can just enter false credit card information and pretty much get shit for free. Yeah, Sony security has basically come off as a pathetic and utter joke. Basically, when you're installing Linux, you're supposed to get, especially something like Red Hat, you're supposed to get these little check marks that says, the security you install. My only advice to Sony is that you're supposed to click those devices, those security things, and turn them on. Uh, Not installing them or not turning them on doesn't exactly help you with your cause here. Bunch of fucking stupid idiots. And I mean it. This is the most basic fucking security that anybody with a half a brain could have, figured it out. Either on a Linux, a Mac, or even Windows. I mean, this is the most basic shit. Well, anyways, the way I see this is aftermath. It's possibly going in several directions. One of them looks like a definite. First of all, I don't know if this is going to be true or not, but I do maybe see this as people having to be forced to re-enter their user accounts on the PlayStation Network. That's going to be a shitstorm. Because with the rebuild that they're talking about, it does look like they're going to have to rebuild the entire database from the ground up, and account information, gaming scores, and all that gone. But that's just a wild guess. So that's a possibility or not, who knows. But the more principal possibility, and I remember watching this from another YouTube video in which some guy says that there's a good chance that Sony is never going to recover from this. I actually see that as true. First of all, the PS3 security has turned into complete shit. I mean, the whole purpose of the PS3 when it first came out was to sell the cell processor and the Blu-ray. Blu-ray's not. The DVDs are beating Blu-rays in sales, by the way, and the cell processor is not being installed. It is in fact dead. IBM killed it, and basically due to extremely low cells. I mean, yes, the risk. So the risk processing versus X32 or whatever. Who gives a shit? Yeah, war's over, and fucking Intel won it, and Intel and AMD both won it, and all the RISC processors are pretty much essentially dead. But the cell processor was even worse because developers didn't even know how to program for it because it's a RISC processor with a completely different mat and with a completely different instruction kit that Sony never really gave out and helped developers develop for. Yeah, way to go. And of course, in their only workaround that was a graphics processor that was last gen, or at least gen before last, since this console is now getting old. But as far as security goes, Sony has fucked themselves, and they're getting their asses sued over it. Basically, what's going on is it's pretty much a done deal. Sony is the PS3. My honest opinion is halfway to almost just being a dead console right now. I mean, it's dead last, but now it's going to just drop in sales values, and it's going to become a joke. It literally, just like the PSP Go, which I guess the U.S. market seems to think there's some sort of buyout for it. Seriously, who's ever running the U.S. Sony of America? Please end that fucking product. Kill it. It's dead. And pretty much PlayStation 3 is pretty much dead now. I mean, you lose that many people's credit card information. Yeah, you pretty much doomed you and your product. And I have to agree with that other YouTuber that it's pretty much over for PlayStation 3. And PlayStation 4 is going to hurt no matter how good they make that hardware. They literally are going to have to do a lot to get their customers back. And short of making miracles on their own, I don't see it. There's there's no recovery from this. In fact, I think in the long run that Sony will probably end up being forced to follow Sega's advice and just stop making consoles altogether and just leave, because they really, really, really fucked up. I'm not joking. This is a mess. So yeah, I do see it pretty much as an awful mess. And oh, and as for certain, well, I'm gonna just say it. Screw attack saying, please don't be an Xbox 360 fan. You know, ripping on PS3 fanboys. Well, first of all, I'm using the Wii, but I'm gonna say this: you PS3 users got so fucking epically owned. And I'll keep enjoying those epic videos of you guys literally losing it. Have a nice day. And yes, I'm an asshole.